Today I'm reacting to Sa Ra Garvey's reaction to Just Pearly Things during the interview on the H3 podcast. And once again, she showed her true nature, her true colors, as Pearl can only do in Pearl fashion. Sa Ra Garvey has repeatedly called this woman out in the past, and I've done videos about it. And he has been absolutely right every time about Just Pearly Things. And the sad reality is a whole lot of black men in the manosphere came to her defense and continue to defend her till today, which is absolutely crazy. So let's see what Sa Ra Garvey has to say.
She's at it again. She is at it again. What up, guys? I am Sa Ra Garvey. You better like, you better share, you better comment, you better subscribe as we get into this one. Now, I'd hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. 2 months ago, I had a falling out with Just Pearly Things, and after that falling out, many people said that I was a grifter. They said it's not bad as, you know, what I say it is. I'm hating, I'm jealous, and all these other things. Now, Pearl has recently done an interview with H3. Now, disclaimer, I'm not necessarily a H3 fan. However, that is not what I'm analyzing here. I'm analyzing what she said. Now, I called her a colonizer in the video that I made, and everybody said, oh, you're pulling the race card. Don't pull the race card. You can't do that. You worked with her for so long. You liked her then. Why don't you like her now? And I left for integrity reasons. If I wanted quote unquote clout, I could have stayed with her. I could have accepted her proposal and her contract and kept on the Just Pearly Things channel. But I chose not to do it. And I chose not to do it. And I told you the reasons why. I saw things that you guys didn't see. I saw things that you did not experience. I experienced things that a lot of you have no idea about. Yet, you've all got an opinion. But I'm saying, you've never asked yourself, how can somebody work with somebody for so long and then say, you know what, I'm out? At the height of her success, there is a reason. Listen to this.
What way was slavery made to seem more horrible than it was?
Slavery stuff too, because what they do is they embellish, and I'm not trying to say it wasn't horrible, it was,
right,
but they want to make it like more horrible. We were talking about, and I don't really want to go into this too much because we're kind of past this, but I was quoting a Thomas Sowell book.
Okay, so do you agree with that premise that slavery was embellished, or no?
I think that there are parts that are under-embellished and there are parts that are over-embellished. I think it just depends what we're talking about.
That's so interesting.
You notice she smiled when she said it was over-embellished. That's the racist nature of this broad. She's pure racist. And she could not answer that question because she really believes that it was embellished. She don't think it was as harsh as it was. Even though she knows better, she would never tell anybody that. That is because of her racist nature.
I've got to know what was over-embellished about slavery. Just like one example, I'm dying to know.
This man said just give one example. Look at her. She's deep in her brain. She can't come up with one because she knows there's no such thing. This is a white supremacist talking point that they say. This is why Nick Fuentes agrees with her, knowing better. Like he said the Holocaust was embellished. Please. Slavery was embellished. Come on now. Come on. They know better. They want to minimize it to make the people that were victimized look bad.
Yeah, I just rather. I mean, I was talking about a book that I
You
read.
just said some parts were embellished, some parts were embellished.
I just
Are you
again,
retracting that?
I'd really just rather not.
Okay.
Mhm.
No, but slavery being embellished, that's so interesting.
Yeah. I just again, I was kind of hoping this was like a good faith interview.
There you go.
A good faith interview. So when he don't agree with the statement she made that she can't support, now it's an interview in bad faith. White supremacist perspective.
She went into Karen mode. I was just hoping that this was like a good faith interview. I was hoping that you weren't going to hurt my feelings. You see, she has been able to say things without being challenged. And there have been a plethora of men that have been lining up to defend her and to put on their Superman capes and save her. She's got no one there to do that right now. So what is happening is that she's floundering. She doesn't know what to say.
I just think you're.
He's right. You have Anton Daniels of the Anton Daniels show or whatever. He got the Millionaire Morning Show. You have Mumia, Obsidian Ali. He came to her defense. Tommy Sotomayor came to her defense. You had a lot of these guys coming to her defense. The Angry Man coming to her defense. These guys came up, spoke in favor, belittled black women to defend this women, said they were jealous and ignorant. I mean, said horrible things about black women who criticized this lady for the racist stuff that she said and her racist perspective. And the black men in the manosphere just crucified black women over it.
Trying to
But
push
that's a clip of you saying that. You can disavow it.
I'm quoting an author.
You're not being honest.
Like,
okay, so you disavow. Just disavow it then. That's easy. Just say, I don't think slavery was embellished. I mean, that's super easy. That's like a layup. Sowell compared Barack Obama to Adolf Hitler. Do you like that analogy?
Look at her face. She can't answer that. Anybody with good sense and good faith would have said, no, I totally disagree with that. Right off the rip, she has to think about it.
That's the author you're quoting.
hmm.
Asking you, do you agree with that statement?
How can someone of 26, 27 years of age be so dogmatic in their thinking with no life experience? No life experience, but you think that slavery was embellished. How would you know? How would you know? What experience do you have? Who have you been speaking to? Who have you read? Oh, you read a Thomas Sowell book. Okay, well, there are more books out there to read. And one of the things that really frustrate me about the people that watch this kind of stuff is they have an excuse. Excuses after excuses after excuses for this woman.
He's right. You read one book, Thomas Sowell, and declare that the Bible. Like that is the end all be all of slavery. Like what he said is solid and cannot be questioned. And she goes from platform to platform, speaking and quoting Thomas Sowell's nonsense. And then when she get heat from an intelligent person like Sa Ra Garvey, who's well learned and well informed, he studies, he understands who he is, where he come from. He understands slavery, the culture of slavery. He understands this. She has no idea, totally oblivious, using talking points, white supremacist talking points.
I've got to say it. One of the most upsetting things is that black men have excuses for this woman. Black men, so many black men have excuses for a white woman saying that slavery was embellished. Now, the harshest parts of slavery are not even shown. They're not even told to us. We don't know about the breeding camps, which they were. There were men that were bred to breed women and would have to have sex with women due to the slave masters. That part is generally not spoken about. We're not told about the buck breaking, as they say, that the slave masters would actually buck break their slaves as in have anal sex with them to lower their self-esteem, to get them in line. That part isn't spoken about. This woman is saying that slavery is embellished. We haven't spoken about when slave masters used to tie women to horses, to two separate horses, while they were pregnant, and allow the horses to run in different directions and split her apart. We haven't spoken about babies, black babies, being used for alligator bait when they used to hunt alligators. We haven't spoken about any of that, but slavery is embellished.
Barack Obama is comparable to Adolf Hitler.
No.
Okay. See, it's not hard. It's not hard. That's awesome. That's easy to do. You also said George Washington was viewed from his slaves like a father.
Now, she said it to me. She said that George Washington was viewed like a father. Let's have a look at this clip.
Would you say George Washington was a real man?
I don't know enough about him.
You guys don't You don't know George?
We're
really?
UK,
Nothing?
like, you don't know about George Washington.
Yeah, fair enough. I just think, like, if someone's a great and powerful man in history to the point, like, they're talking about him hundreds of years later, he didn't have any kids. But, like,
didn't he own slaves?
What?
Did he own slaves? George Washington?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, not a real man to me. I'm just saying.
No, it's actually interesting. He had a different, like, he inherited his slaves, and it wasn't as simple as he could have just, like, let them go, because the debt that's incurred on them, like, you can't just release them. And so his slaves actually, like, he had a really good relationship with them, and they considered him like a dad.
What kind of nonsense is this? Someone being held against their will, abused, is going to look at their abuser, their captor, as a father figure. You see how oblivious this fool is? This broad is absolutely nuts, and she's spewing this in front of her 1.4 million subscribers, and they continue to watch, and majority of them are black people, sellouts, Uncle Toms, butt broken black people. That's who would support somebody like this. This is utter nonsense. She called him a great man. What makes him great if he owns slaves? Like Sa Ra Garvey said, he can't be great if he owns slaves. He's rotten and evil.
Oddly enough, like a lot of all of his inheritance went to his slaves.
I mean, I hear that, but I just can't take a man.
That's a damn lie. There are no slaves inherit no money from no white person. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. It's like she said when slaves were released from slavery, they owned slaves and built their own plantations. Where did they get money to buy a slave plantation if they worked for free as slaves? Where did they get money to buy land? And what white man would sell an ex-slave land when they can just take that person and put them back into captivity and keep whatever land that they're interested in buying? I mean, come on, that doesn't make sense.
Seriously, if you're owning other people.
Yeah.
Did you say that? Do you think racism was embellished? I mean, it's so easy. I mean, just say no.
I can't say, hey, these slaves had a good relationship with their owners
because
without
it's
getting
not true. Because it's just not true. It's not true. What George Washington was not a father figure to his slaves. Fair. To be totally fair, you could just say, I don't think slavery was embellished.
Like you were
like
just
that's
talking
super
about,
easy. That's a layup for most people.
I was quoting a book. That's the crazy part. I was quoting a book.
So because you were quoting a book, you can't say that you think the book was wrong? You don't have an opinion of your own? She has an opinion. It's a racist opinion. She looks at things from a racist perspective. That's why.
So do you agree with his statement, though?
Do I think overall it was embellished? Some parts, sure.
There it is. Which parts?
Some parts.
No, please tell me which parts. Tell me.
I think that you can't. I think that certain slaves had good relationships with their owners. Not all, maybe not most, but I think some did.
And that just and that
And there are accounts of them saying this.
so some slaves had good relationships with their masters. Therefore,
And
slavery was
this is what
embellished. How easy it is to just say, I don't think it was embellished.
Okay, I really appreciate you having me on, but I'm gonna go. Thank you.
See, this is what happened when you come in there with racist talking points and you think the people that you're talking to share your sentiment, but they don't. You didn't think you was going to be under fire. You came on here to gain allies and got exposed for the racist that she is. That is exactly what just happened. And now she's got to turn heels and run.
Thank you,
George.
Thank you.
And there we have it. Doesn't seem like she's able to have an original thought or even start thinking and analyzing something. Okay, some slaves had good relationships. Therefore, slavery as a whole was embellished. That's not the right equation to be coming to. There are some black billionaires in America. Does that mean on the whole, black people are not at the bottom of the social economic ladder in America? No. There is not much else I can say about this woman without repeating myself over and over and over again. It is what it is. You hear it from the horse's mouth. It's not me trying to make something up and call her this for some kind of clout reasons, to gain followers or even to gain likes. It comes out of her own mouth. Statements can be said, which is fine. What I have found, and what I did find when I was with her, was that she was great at repeating things that she's read, things that other people have said. But if you ask her to sit down and analyze it, she starts to fumble. She starts to stumble. She doesn't know how to do it herself. It's as if she can't have her own original thought. Anyway, I'm done. It's all been said. The videos are out there. Everybody can see for themselves. I am Sa Ra Garvey. You better like, share.
See, he's right. She just read certain points out of certain books, don't have no understanding, don't do no in-depth research, and then come out and spew that nonsense and can't back it up because she's not learned enough. And this is what Sa Ra Garvey said from the beginning and really received a lot of backlash from a lot of black folks when he was 100% right. And she just was exposed bad.